every thought you have about the negative and in the past, I want a ratio of 1 to 10. So if you have one negative, shameful thought about the past, I want 10 thoughts in the future. That's what I want. I want you to flood your body with all that good energy. Because you moved on. You did it. It's over. Congratulations. I told you you could do it, and you did it. You moved to the end. And your life's it's gonna take time to get really fully in swing, but you're starting. You change gears. The hardest part is over. So congratulations. Welcome to Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind. I'm Corey Shapiro. The goal of this podcast is to help you in that space where you're activated, where you're charged, where you're going through some tough times. And you might make a decision that really affects you, your family, especially your children, long term. And I want to pause in that space and help you bring your wiser self. That's the point of this podcast. And this episode starts a 3-part miniseries because we're getting to the end of the season and you've been through it. And we're focusing on phase 3, which is getting your life back. And we're focusing on that end where you settle the divorce or you're almost settled. And maybe even the divorce judgment came through and you're starting to get your life back. And I want to talk about that. And then in the next 2 episodes, I want to talk about your future romantic partnerships because I hear people say, I'm never going to get married again. And then I want to talk about your post-divorce legacy and what you're leaving on to your children. So let's give you the summary of this episode, which is there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, which sounds final. You've just been through a war. You've been through a lot. And you're just exhausted, profoundly exhausted. And there's a difference. So let's get to it. Some concepts to think about is this idea between being burned out and having a breakthrough. You know, when you're burned out, you just need time to heal. And everything that was set up in your divorce, phase 1 was, the get clarity. We worked so much on this podcast on get clarity. And you had that. And that was a journey. And then you got going, you got your turn, you went through the divorce, and that was exhausting, much harder than you thought it was going to be. You wish it was simple. It wasn't. It was difficult, but you made it. I knew you could make it, and you did make it. And now you're getting your life back. But you didn't think it was going to be this way. It sort of reminds me, I had a difficult childhood. And when I left my family for the last time, I had all these ideas of what I was going to do that night when I went into my first apartment. And it was literally Friday night. And I'm still pretty young. And I was like, I'm going to do everything I want. And I literally crashed at like 7 p.m. on Friday. I remember that. And because I was just exhausted. It was exhausting moving on. And that's where you are right now in that space. So that's really what I want to focus on. Let's talk about some examples of how this works. If you have some friends who want to celebrate this time to mark this moving on from your divorce, and you just really want to be in bed and not deal with anyone, not want to be social, you're not feeling it, that's really what I'm talking about. Now, I know some people who have milestone birthdays and don't want to celebrate them because, they look at the negative, they're just getting older. Why should I celebrate? But I'm a big believer in celebrating, especially milestone birthdays. I had recently my 50th birthday and we went on a lovely cruise and it was a great time. But my wife, she didn't really want to have a big birthday for her last milestone. And I was trying to push her and push her and push her. And it didn't work out. So everyone to their own. Because I don't think she was happy as I was to celebrate. I was looking at it, thinking about my life maybe at 85 looking back. So I had it as a different perspective. And I do think there needs to be some type of commemoration of this event. It doesn't have to be a celebration like balloons and cake and happiness, but it's a marking. I know some cultures celebrate funerals, especially when someone lived a long life, in a happy way, not just a sad way. Now, if someone dies early, of course, that's tragic. But if they lived a long life, like my Nana, my grandmother, she lived until her 90s. That's pretty good. That's like winning the life lottery. So it's not sad that she was dying. It was inevitable. So same thing here with divorce. So I want you to take a moment right now and think about this. And as you transition into phase 3, as you're getting your life back, there's going to be an adjustment period. So let me give you my power phrase. This isn't failure. It's fallout. It's fallout from this high conflict divorce you've been through. But there's nothing wrong with you. You didn't fail anything. Could have your divorce been a little different? Could things have worked out differently? Of course. We can always second guess ourselves, but it's over. And I want you to now focus your energies on the future. That's really what I want you to do. But if you're going to have some type of marking, could we do these ideas? If you don't want to do a divorce celebration, I understand that's probably what I wouldn't do either. But you can commemorate. You could do something different. And I think this is so important, especially if you've been a caretaker, and a lot of people have been caretakers for so long. Can you do something just for you? Yeah, that's what I want. Can you do something just for you? Like, when you take that airplane, they say, put your, oxygen mask on first. If there's a problem before you put it on your kids, we're focusing on you. When was the last time you did something for you during this difficult divorce? Have you followed my suggestions of self-care? Have you been doing that? Even if it's just a dance class once a week? Or you're like, I don't have time for that. I can't do any of that. All that builds up. So if you're really, really exhausted at the end of this, that's probably why you haven't really invested in self-care. And now is the time. Now you still have time. So could it be as simple as taking a day off and going to a spa? If that's your budget and that's what you like to do. And if you had more time, but you didn't have maybe the budget, could you do a staycation? And I don't want you on your phones. I don't want you on your social media. I don't want you to do things you would normally do. I want you to do things differently. Like for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts and I read a lot of books. So on my week, I can't do all that. I have to do something different. Maybe it would be playing tennis every day in the park. That's different. I don't do that. I play maybe once a week. I wish I could play every day. Whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be so expensive. But if you have the budget, hey, go away for a long weekend. Go away for a week. Go away for 2 weeks if you can do that. Go see a friend and stay at their place. I want you to get out of your life for a little bit. That's the recovery you need. This is your cool down period. All right. That feels good. That's where I want you. So your action step is thinking about that, planning just this cool down recovery period to enter your new life. You with me? You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing's wrong. I know there's a lot of guilt and shame that comes up sometimes, maybe in the middle of the night. I don't want you to think about that. I really don't. And if you have to think about it, every thought you have about the negative and in the past, I want a ratio of 1 to 10. So if you have one negative, shameful thought about the past, I want 10 thoughts in the future. That's what I want. I want you to flood your body with all that good energy. Because you moved on. You did it. It's over. Congratulations. I told you you could do it, and you did it. You moved to the end. And your life's it's gonna take time to get really fully in swing, but you're starting. You change gears. The hardest part is over. So congratulations. And thanks for, watching and doing the work and listening to these podcasts. Hopefully you had a really good trusted advisor as your attorney who you can thank too, who got you to the next step. And now it's all on you. And your future is so bright. I'm Corey Shapiro. Thanks for listening.
This podcast offers general information only. It cannot replace legal advice. If you need tailored advice, contact an attorney licensed to practice in your area.